My whole life, I have hustled, literally since middle school, just been an overachiever. And I think that's a compensatory behavior from not feeling worthy or like I don't have value. And so my whole life I spent pushing, forcing in my masculine energy. And I realized that that does not have to be the case. So that's something that kind of, yeah, it was a big aha for me. And it was also a huge relief because I'm tired. Like, spending almost 40 years on this planet, busting my butt. Homegirl is tired.
Welcome back to another episode of the Live Free Lifestyle podcast. I am your host, Leah Brathwaite, and I am so excited to welcome my very first guest onto the podcast today. She's a fellow podcaster and is the host of the absolutely amazing podcast called The Great Detour. She's also a private client who just completed the Live Free Lifestyle experience with me, and we did a one-to-one version of it that was so powerful and so beautiful. And she's just got such a powerful story and so much wisdom to share. So I am so glad to welcome my friend and fellow podcaster, Jess Prudhomme, to the show. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leah. It is such an honor to be on the show. I am so excited to be here. And yes, as you just said, I just completed the Live Free Lifestyle experience, and it was a life-changing experience. And I am so glad that I signed up and so glad that the universe brought us together exactly when it did, which is what it usually does. It just drops the right people in at the right time. And I just can't wait to dig into this conversation. So thank you.
Of course. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to have this conversation because our stories have such wild similarities. And I know from like just our conversation that we had on your podcast and working with you, I know we could probably talk for hours. We're going to try to like keep it contained today. But there's just so many different aspects of your story that I think will resonate so much with the audience. So the very first question that I want to start with, which is at the core of this podcast that I will be asking every guest as they come on, is what does it mean to you to live free?
That's a great question. For me, to live free means to live in authenticity, to walk a path and live a life that is truly and deeply authentic to you. And that sounds simple when you say it, but it's really quite a journey to get there. And that has been my journey. When I found you, I've been on the path for a minute now. I've been doing the work for about 5 years, but I was still struggling to kind of integrate things and create the type of life that I was looking to create. So I really found you at exactly the right time. And I just feel like now more than ever, I have a deeper connection to myself and a clearer vision of the type of life that I want to create for myself. So thank you so much for that.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely my pleasure. And you nailed it with that idea of authenticity. Like being your full self is truly the most liberating experience that you can have in every aspect of your life. So as you mentioned, you're not new to personal development. You have been on your own powerful journey of life detours for a while. And I would love to, just in your own words, if you could share with us how your journey began. Like, where did you start from? Where did this journey to living free or in your authenticity begin for you?
Sure. So it started I started getting the wake up call and the nudges right around COVID, which I know happened for a lot of us because all of the distractions were removed. If there was anything going on in our lives or any cracks in our foundations, it was really hard to avoid during COVID. And for some time, I had been struggling in my marriage, and it was unavoidable during COVID. I just had to look at it and realize, like, wow, I am not happy, and this is not working. And that's actually when I found my therapist and really kick-started my healing journey. And it was quite the journey because historically, I have been your quintessential type A. I love a good plan. I love control. It makes me feel safe. So I did everything in my life according to that plan. I got straight A's in school. I went to a good college. I married my high school sweetheart. I did the corporate job, and just everything was going according to this plan that I had. until it didn't, until my life took a major detour. So at 35 years old, my marriage started falling apart. And despite my best efforts, there was nothing I could do to fix it. And I ended up getting a divorce at 35. It ended my 17-year relationship. So when that first happened, it was this reckoning. I was like, who am I without a partner? It was a question I never really had asked myself before that. So that was when I really started my journey. And it's been a beautiful journey. It's been an act of self reclamation and coming home to myself. It's had its ups and downs and everything in between. And I'm so grateful for it. However, one thing I went into it really naively believing was like, oh, I did the hard thing. I left this misaligned marriage and now it's all just gonna fall into place, right? Like I'm gonna meet my soulmate now and everything's just gonna work out and the rest of my life is easy peasy. Yeah, that's not how life works, or at least that's not how my journey has worked out. And it's just been a continual process of removing these layers and really getting to the root of who am I? Why am I
Mm-hmm.
here? What did I come here to do? And what is my purpose? And so
Yeah.
getting divorced was a big part of that. But another big part of that was my career. That's right around the time that I met you. Is I had been feeling so restless in my corporate career. I'd been at the same company for about 10 years. I worked at a really well-known Fortune 500, was doing well, but just felt really empty inside. And so I took this brave, crazy, hard leap and quit my job with a deep knowing that there's more on the other side for me. But I did that and I just stepped into this unknown and this emptiness. And then enters Leah. Thank God, because I really needed the guidance at that point. And I say this with a lot of humility, but I really pride myself on my equanimity and my ability to have things under control and have it all together. And when I met you, I really unraveled in a way that I don't think I ever have before. It was quite an ego death, to say the least, and a reckoning of many sorts. And you, honestly, Leah, I don't know what I would have done without you. So I'm so grateful for that.
Well, good thing we don't have to wonder because thankfully the universe brought us together in the most incredible way. And you were courageous enough to grab on because sometimes we get presented with opportunities and we're too afraid to even take that next step. But I just want to circle back to some of the things that you've said because I think your story resonates with so many women, especially. I know that it's the quintessential explanation or archetype of the women who end up finding me and joining the Live Free lifestyle because you are incredibly intelligent. You were in this corporate career for 10 years, excelling at it. Like you're very smart, you're very high achieving. Like you said, the type A of motivated, driven, ambitious. And sometimes we drive ourselves straight into a wall because we have a part of us that we haven't yet acknowledged or we haven't yet come into a right relationship with, and we don't understand what's actually driving us. So we get into the marriages, we get into the careers, we're checking off all of the boxes, only to realize at a certain point, oh shit, wait a second, I have all of these things and I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel happy. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't actually even know who I am. And those are the fundamental questions that haunt all of us. And then we usually end up trying to do more work and hustle even harder and get to the next goal. And we put off that feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment and happiness and true authentic joy in the hopes that if we just keep grinding or if we just stick with it a little longer, or if we just keep trying, we can fix it. So my curiosity for you is you've made really big leaps, like leaving your marriage, leaving your career, which it's not like there was major things wrong with it, but I'm curious, what were the signs that this was no longer aligned or how did you know it was time to leave?
With my marriage, it was just this complete emptiness inside and detachment from myself. As much as I loved my partner, there was just this knowing that this just didn't fit. It didn't work anymore. And there was just so many signs the relationship just wasn't fulfilling anymore. And there were so many problems and it wasn't working. And I had to accept that. And then my job was sneakier. It was like, oh, I'm not happy, but it's work. That's why they call it work. Nobody loves their job all the time. But the more you ignore it, I think these whispers that come up, the louder they get. And with my job, over the years, I just started to get unhappier and more frustrated, and I just felt so deeply unfulfilled. And then I got into podcasting. I felt this nudge to start this podcast and tell my story and share the stories of others. And I was filled with so much life. It was invigorating. And I thought, oh my gosh, like this is what I've been missing. Like this zest for life, this zest. And the more stories I heard from my guests about them taking these brave leaps, going through these detours and finding more purpose on the other side and more authenticity, it really inspired me. And I realized I'm doing something that just doesn't feel like me anymore. And the thing is, it did feel like me at one time. There was a time where it was very fulfilling and exciting, and I got a lot of joy and fulfillment from it. But alignment doesn't always last forever. And I think there's a time and a place for things. And I think I just had to recognize that this job had served its purpose. I'd learned everything I needed to learn from it. I had grown from it. And now it was time to take the next step. What I had wished what would have happened is I could easily have transitioned from that job to whatever my purpose was or whatever was next, just like I thought I was going to get divorced and then suddenly find my soulmate. But that's not how life happens either. And I'm realizing that there's growth phases, there's healing phases, there's stepping stones, and it's important to give yourself grace as you go through those different phases. And that's what was so helpful for me in the Live Free lifestyle. Is like I took this very intentional pause. It was beautiful that I even had the luxury to take this pause. And then I had someone like you to guide me through that and really get still and go inward and say, okay, like what's next for this next chapter? What do I want? And that was truly invaluable.
I love something that you said. You said sometimes alignment doesn't last forever. And I think that is such an important thing because, as you know, in the Live Free lifestyle, we talk a lot about like your soul aligned life. Like, where is your soul calling you to go? What is your true purpose? And my definition of that is to be your fullest, most expressed self. And we sometimes want something to last forever. We try to like force ourselves into like the confined box that we at one time it made sense. And we end up getting stuck there if we don't allow ourselves to say like, okay, there's something else that's calling me. Let me see where that call is moving me towards, and then allowing yourself to be drawn and to be led by that, because your intuition is responding to the universe. It's calling you and it's whispering things like podcasting for you. And I know that it's something that lights you up so deeply. And I know that it is something that is so aligned with your purpose. And I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but something that I love about working one-to-one with some of my clients is that we get to use your human design to really get like a clear picture of your unique blueprint and how you're meant to be operating in the world. And so this idea of like, I wanted to quit my job and immediately find my purpose. It was interesting when I looked at your chart and I saw that essentially your purpose, or the overarching theme of your life, is the right angle cross of the unexpected, which means like you navigate pivots and detours. And it was just so beautiful to see that you were already living your purpose by following what lit you up with the podcast, even naming it The Great Detour. And I was like, it's not lost on me that you're calling this podcast The Great Detour when your life mission is about how do I navigate these pivots in life? How do I navigate these unexpected occurrences with my own intuition? And then how do I share that information with others and help them somehow? And so you've already unknowingly been in this soul aligned place of like listening for the whispers, feeling them as frustration, or feeling them as like this emptiness, or feeling them as this longing for something more. And I think sometimes, especially as women, we're kind of trained to ignore those things as like, oh, you're just being ungrateful, or oh, you're just asking for too much, or oh, you should just be happier, or you should just try harder. And those are actually our soul's whispers, like trying to wake us up, like this is something that is aligned with your purpose, your truest expression. And so to see you already doing that and to continue to lean into it is just really powerful. And it's a testament to how wise you are and how much you are willing to listen to those whispers, even when they feel uncomfortable, knowing that you are on this really powerful evolutionary journey that is really here to make a big impact. Like, and you're doing it already with your podcast, with the way that you are sharing these stories and reminding people that life isn't linear. It's not just from point A to point B. There are these navigations that need to happen, and that is all part of our soul's journey. That is all part of the great unfolding of the destiny that we've all sort of signed up for here. So truly, it's been such an honor to like witness you in coming into this even deeper alignment with yourself. And this kind of brings me into my next question, because like you said, you're not new to personal development. You had a therapist right out of your marriage. You've been doing a lot of courses, all of the healing modalities.
All
So
of it.
you're well versed in personal development. So my curiosity to you is, what made you want to work with me? What made you think, okay, maybe there's something here that can help me?
I'm a big feeler, and so that's something I've learned to listen to over the years. When I feel drawn to something, there's a reason. If I feel like something doesn't feel good, there's a reason. So I've learned to listen to that part of myself. And when we connected, I just felt so drawn to you. I did, and I couldn't believe like how drawn to you I was. And I was like, all right, there's a reason for this. And like I know she's more than just one of my podcast guests. Like there's gotta be more. And then I made this, crazy decision to leave my job. And I knew once I left, I'm not one to think I can do it all on my own. So I was like, I know I'm going to need support. I know I'm going to need guidance from those I look up to and just people I respect. So it was the perfect timing for it. And I knew you'd be able to help me and guide me through this journey and figure out what's next. And it really did work out, because outside of leaving my job, I feel like it was just a period in my life where a lot of just different things kind of fell apart. I was in another very misaligned relationship that was like on again, off again, and I couldn't quite shake. And when I was with you, I made the move to walk away from that, but I needed the support, and you were there to help me through that. And I think the universe knew, like, okay, this is going to be a bumpy season for Jess, and she's going to need somebody to hold her hand through it. So I think it just pulled me in that direction. But yeah, your energy just kind of drew me in, and I loved. I'm a very practical person, historically an overachiever, which I'm working on. I'm trying just to be an achiever and do the things I love, and not like overcompensate by overachieving. But I love that you have this balance between being practical and savvy and business focused, but also the spiritual side. And that's something I think you don't get in every coach. Is I'm a very spiritual person. That's something that
Mm-hmm.
happened in my healing journey just very organically, and I realized that there's so much more to life than I had realized, and I'm always being guided, and there's a greater purpose in everything. And so that was really important to me, to have someone who had that mindset and could help provide guidance with that lens. And so that's what you did as well, and that was really really valuable to me.
Beautiful. Thank you for that reflection. I'm curious, what was your biggest aha moment? Because I know that while we were working together, there were so many things that you were like, oh my goodness, this is a realization. This is a realization. You could put some pieces together for yourself, just in who you are, like what you want and where you're meant to be going in the world. I'm curious if there's something in particular that you consider your biggest aha moment, or the biggest thing that you learned through our experience together.
I think my biggest aha moment was related to how hard I work and how hard I think life has to be. My whole life, I have hustled, literally since middle school, just been an overachiever. And I think that's a compensatory behavior from not feeling worthy, or like I don't have value. And so my whole life I spent pushing, forcing in my masculine energy. And I realized that that does not have to be the case. I think when you are in alignment when you are intentional and stepping on your path and in your soul's purpose, not to say there's work, but there's an ease to things and
Hmm.
there's a flow to things, and it doesn't require you to work and push so incredibly hard. So that's something that kind of, yeah, it was a big aha for me. And it was also a huge relief because I'm tired. Like, spending
Right.
almost 40 years on this planet, busting my butt. Homegirl is tired. So it was just, I could finally like let my shoulders down and breathe a little bit and just trust that I'm on my path. And no, I might not know what every step along the way looks like, but as long as I take that next step and follow the nudge, follow the whispers, follow my heart, I'm going to be just fine and everything's going to work out. And I think that was the biggest thing for me because I tend to overthink, and I have a tendency to have like catastrophic thinking. I like to map out all the worst case scenarios and just prepare for them just in case. And now I've kind of let that go, and I've shifted my mindset from automatically worrying about things to now just being excited and just hopeful and just, wow, how is this going to work out? I can't wait to see.
I love that so much. And that is like a big change for sure from
Huge.
catastrophic thinking of like overthinking, a lot of self doubt to just being like, you know what? I got this. And I can
Hmm.
figure this out. So that difference between like fighting life instead of flowing with it comes when you align with your soul and you allow your intuition to guide you and you know how to trust it. Because we often hear our intuition, but we just don't know how to trust it because we've just been conditioned out of it. So bringing that back online is so powerful. And then the other part about your path, this is the thing that I love that you are speaking to, because we, as humans, of course, like our mind is like, I want to know exactly where this path is going and I want to know the exact next steps and I want to have like
Always.
the plan, the whole thing planned out. But when you are living in your authenticity, when you're living free and your soul is guiding you, you are co-creating everything with the universe. And you get to see how it supports you continuously when you flow with it, when you're allowing your intuition to be in conversation with the greater field instead of just having your wee little human mind that is like trying to make up for the fact that you were, I don't know, bullied on the playground in grade 4, that overachieving mentality or that like feeling of lack that we have buried within ourselves that causes us to disown our own truth, that causes us to take somebody else's path instead. Bringing that into your awareness and recognizing you get to create whatever it is that you desire. And your desires are divine direction. They are guiding you towards your higher destiny, like that podcast that just wouldn't stop calling you until you finally did it. And then you realized, oh my God, I get so much energy from it. And I'm meeting so many people and it's connecting me to all of these things. So we can't see where our next step is going to lead us all the time through visioning and like imagination and that sort of thing. As you've learned, you can kind of imagine where you're going and you can get downloads of what's next. But it truly is this magical carpet ride of like a scavenger hunt, almost, of like allowing your intuition and your soul to like guide you throughout life and allowing you to be called to what is meant to be yours, and trusting that if there is the desire for it, it is absolutely possible for you to have it. Not only possible, it is meant for you to have it. So I love that you've gotten that turned online and are now creating this new path forward. My question now is, what was the most challenging thing for you in this journey? Not, I mean, it can be in the 3 months that we spent together or just overall and like, okay, I'm starting to live this authentic life now. What was surprisingly challenging for you?
There's a lot of loss when you choose
Mm.
authenticity. For my journey, everybody's journey is different, but for mine, it was a lot of letting go of a marriage, letting go of friendships and relationships that no longer fit, letting go of a career that really gave me a big sense of self worth, and sitting with who I am without all these things that I once attached my identity to, and really trying to cultivate self love without all those things. So there is a bit of grief along the healing journey. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's all a bed of roses and it's easy and it's simple. I think I went into it just like the way I went into therapy. Oh my God, my type A self. I was like, okay, I think I know what the problem is. How many sessions you think? And she kind of just nodded and smiled at me like, oh girl, if you only knew. And I think that's like how I anticipated the healing journey to be too. It's just like one and done, you do the thing. And it's not, it's just like this ongoing process. And I've learned to just, to lean into it and to be okay when there's loss. Because I think when something goes away, it just means the universe is making space for the things that are right, the people that are right, the opportunities that are right to come in. But it is hard at times, and it can get lonely and isolating. And that's why it's so
Yeah.
wonderful to connect with people like you and others who are on the journey, because it can be really hard sometimes. I think not everybody signs up for this type of path in life, and you can feel
Mhm.
lost and alone. So it's been a beautiful experience to find like-minded people to remind me, like, oh my God, okay, I am not alone in this. There are others out there who are doing this work too. And I do believe it's all worth it. I mean, already it's been worth it. My life, though it hasn't been easy, I just feel so much more connected to myself than I ever have before. And a sense of home, I've built a sense of home within myself. And I know that that will continue to grow as time goes on. And like, it's a beautiful thing. I never had that before. And I'm just so grateful that, despite all the pain led me to come home to myself.
So beautiful. So, so beautiful. And I think that's an important part to acknowledge because it's easy, especially in like personal development and manifestation and even in spirituality, to say like, it's all magical and wonderful. You can manifest, you can have whatever
Mhm.
you want. And there's the realization that if your hands are holding on so tightly to what you have that is no longer aligned, there is no room for the new things to come in. So it's like that letting go or that opening to what is meant to be working through you is an act of surrender. It's an act of faith. And it's also, like you said, like healing. It's like it cleanses you from the inside out. And sometimes it doesn't always feel really good to do that. As you like peel back the layers of conditioning or peel back the layers of things that caused you to be out of alignment for so long, it can feel really uncomfortable sometimes. So you're so right to be able to have support, to have like a community, to have other people who are on the same path as you. But the beautiful thing, even in that, is that as you are shedding those layers and coming into a deeper sense of truth, like who am I if I don't have the job, if I don't have the husband, if I don't have the house or whatever it is, whatever we tie our value and our sense of worth and our sense of self to, when those things are taken away, it really shows us where we're not free and where we have traded our truth for some transactional experience in the outside world, knowing that if we continue to invest in that as our sense of worth, we're always going to be chasing something outside of ourselves. Our power is always going to be outside of ourselves. So the point of coming back into your wholeness, into yourself, gives you back your power so that you are creating from a place and with a confidence that can never be taken away from you. Whether you get the job or you don't get the job, whether the relationship lasts or it doesn't, you are anchored in this place that is untouchable. And I call it being unfucking bothered, because you're like, I got me, and I'm good. And I know that I can keep coming back to myself. And I think the thing that's important too is to know that there's like an everlasting depth that you can continue to uncover within yourself. And that's what makes life so beautiful, because you can continue to learn about yourself. You can continue to evolve, to grow, and to deepen that relationship with yourself, which is just so beautiful.
I
So,
love that. I love that. And I said it to you before. I think throughout this whole process, I remembered who the hell I am. And like that person's been there all along. She's always
mhm,
been there, but all those layers, she got buried
yeah.
underneath. And then it took a minute. I felt really lost for a minute there, but now I'm like, oh no, I remember her and I'm going to be okay. And I actually have like a lot of power within me. So it's been a beautiful thing to come home to.
Yeah, so that gave me like goosebumps. It's so true, because we've buried parts of ourselves to fit in, to make our parents happy, to do what our teachers tell us, all kinds of things. And we've just suppressed these parts of ourselves. And the only way that we can get them back is by like reclaiming them ourselves. Nobody's going to give it back to us. So it is the work of our lifetime to truly be aligned with our authentic self. So now that you are in this place of reclaimed self, that you are like, I remember who the fuck I am and I'm ready to take on the world, what are you most excited about now as you're stepping into this next chapter of really living free?
I'm just feeling really happy right now. Just happy, honestly, just happy to exist. For so long, when I left my job, I was in this energy of nervousness, panic. What am I going to do? And I just got to this place of feeling good. And so I'm trying to enjoy just the slowness of life right now. At first, I resisted it because it's so foreign to me, but I realize what a gift it is now. And I don't know when I'm going to get this season again. So I'm really trying to lean into that and allow that stillness, that stillness and that slowness to give me the answers I'm looking for. But I'm also really excited. I'm picking up the podcast again and launching season 3 in
So
November.
excited.
So I've been jamming on that. I have such a great lineup of guests, and I just I cannot wait to have these conversations. I feel like so jazzed about it. So I'm psyched about that. And then honestly, I am just excited for the possibilities. This is so weird for me to say because normally I'm like, I want it all figured out, but what am I gonna do for a job? Like, what am I gonna? I'm gonna start working soon because I need to pay my mortgage. But what does the future look like? Like, what is the next job, and what's that gonna lead to? And I'm actually kind of excited. I'm not gonna be in the same spot I was last year, which has always been my fear that I'm gonna be stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
now I made that impossible because I left. So what does this
Mm-hmm.
next year look like? And then also, I'm excited to fall in love again. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really ready for and desiring aligned partnership. And so I don't know when it'll happen, but I do know that it's going to happen. So I'm just really excited and hopeful. And just, yeah, I'm so, how lucky am I that I got the opportunity to fall in love again? So I'm looking forward to that whenever that happens.
I got such chills, like goosebumps when you were saying that, because as you know, I truly believe that soulmate love, that like aligned partnership comes when we are aligned within ourselves. And I know the work that you've done. I know what you've let go of. I know what you have cleared space for. And so I'm so excited for this man to come into your world because you are just so incredible and one of my favorite people. So thank you for
Thank you,
having this
Leah.
conversation with me. And you just have such positivity to share with the world. I'm also very excited for the next season of the Great Detour. I know that you have some incredible guests that are lined up, and I love to hear that you are feeling happy, that you are feeling good, and that you are feeling expanded and open to the possibilities. There's no more Groundhog Day. There's no more fear of like repeating the same year over and over again until you die. So that is fantastic. So my final question would be, what would you say to somebody who is listening right now and they're thinking, oh my God, I want what she has. Like, I want to be happy. I want to feel good. I want to feel like I'm at home with myself. I want love too. So they might want what you want, but they're scared to take the leap. What would you say to them to encourage them?
Get quiet, get still with yourself, and listen to where your soul is guiding you. You have this inner compass that will never steer you wrong. And sometimes it might be hard to hear, you might be busy, distracted, anxious, but when you make intentional time to get still, to get quiet, it will point you in whatever direction you need to go in and give you the next step. If that next step is signing up for the Live Free lifestyle, great. If it's going to therapy, great. But I encourage you and invite you to get quiet and just see what nudges you're getting and where you're being pulled. And it'll surprise you sometimes, but you'll be pulled somewhere. And that's what it's been like for me. Every nudge I've followed, and it's led me to the next place and the next place and the next aligned person. And it ultimately, like, me following these nudges led me to you. So you can't go wrong with just trusting your gut and listening to the pull.
Hmm. Could not have said it better myself. So thank you for that. So beautiful. It is all about following your soul and letting it guide the way. All right,
Exactly.
Jess. So where can people find you and the podcast? Where do they go to get more of you?
You can find out more information at thegreatdetour.com or find me on Instagram at thegreatdetour.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation, Jess. I have loved every minute of our chat. I've loved every minute of supporting you through the Live Free lifestyle, and just so honored to know you and to have you in my world. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Leah. I feel exactly the same way. And honestly, you've been such a true soul helper on my journey, and I'll be forever grateful for that. So thank you.
My absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That is it for another episode of the Live Free Lifestyle. If you enjoyed this episode and you know somebody who would benefit from hearing Jess's story, please share this episode with them. Let them in on the magic. Introduce them to a new wonderful human in their world. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.